Hey, what is up, disc golfers? Today on Iceberg TV, I have a disc that I'm really excited to test for you guys. I have the MVP Limit. I was looking for a limit for a long time once I discovered that it at one point existed and now it's out of production. This apparently is MVP's most overstable and crazy disc they've ever made. It's a 14.5 speed, 3.5 glide, 0 turn, and a 4 fade. This thing is going to be the crazy absolute beef. I eventually was able to find one. It just happened to be this cool special edition one. Cool patent pending limit. I'm not sure how old this is, but I believe these went out of production in 2018. So this disc is at least, 5 or 6 years old. Obviously, this noodle arm is going to struggle with this disc, but I've got a few other discs to compare it to. We've got a Panic, we've got a Neutron Photon, and one other disc just in there for funsies. So let's throw the limit and see how it flies. I'm expecting I should just be able to throw it like this because it should be so stable. Oh yeah. I'm already thinking Simon would love that as a trick shot disc. And I also have the Panic here, 13.4 minus 0.53. So pretty similar flight numbers, a little bit slower and advertised a little bit less stable. Honestly, I think this flies exactly like the time-lapse flies, in my opinion. So that is a really overstable disc, but you saw how quickly that limit wanted to dump. The limit went like 65 feet shorter, possibly even more. We've also got this Photon here. This Photon was pretty stable. I just want to throw some other discs that are also stable just to show the context of how stable the limit actually is. So the Photon even holding a little bit of a line. Obviously still very overstable. And then we've got one other disc that it's not even stable, I don't think, the Impulse. But I got it out of the used bin, so I was just excited to throw this one for bonus points. Oh, that's lovely. All right, let's go grab the limit. We'll throw it a few more times. The thing is ridiculously stable. So we'll show a quick profile view here. It's a little bit domier than I thought it was going to be. Being advertised under a 4 glide is a pretty tall claim. Most discs are going to glide at least a little bit. Even very overstable discs with not much glide are usually around a 4 or 4.5. But this thing advertised a 3.5, so it's got a little bit more dome than I expected. The wing is really wide and really sharp. The mold doesn't look like it'd be as stable as it is, but as we just saw in that first throw, it is just absolute straight up beef. All right, I'm gonna go Super Annie here. That thing does not glide at all. At all. That thing does not glide at all. I felt really good about that rip. Let's go with the Panic. Show off that stability a bit more. So that's a Panic. Panic is like super beef as well. Like the Panic is so overstable that I wouldn't really bag that one. And the limit makes the Panic look flippy. Now we have a step down. We'll do the Photon. That Photon is really nice. I just wish it had more dome so it went a little bit farther. And the only reason I'm throwing this right now, I lost my Crave yesterday, and I figured I'm out here, I might as well throw it. Really cool Neutron Impulse. I've never seen one of these before, but it felt really good. So I just felt like it was kind of a must get. That's a really cool flight. Early flight, flip up and drift, but then the integrity to kind of come out and fade at the end. That Impulse is cool too. Let's go grab everything. We'll throw everything a few more times and then we'll wrap up the video. So no matter how overstable a disc might be, Simon has proven again and again, even the most overstable of PD2, FD3, whatever the case was, Simon could always get these discs to either flip up or hold a turn for a little bit. I don't think Simon could flip up the limit. And you guys might find that to be a bold prediction, but I've tested and thrown a lot of discs that has so little glide. It's such a wide rim and it just wants to like almost go upside down. It's not quite like stego stable. It's like useful stability, but man, this thing just wants to like dump and fade and rip and skip. This is a really overstable disc. I'd really love to link up with Simon and see him throw this thing. So we'll just compare the two here. We have a Panic and we have a Limit, and they're actually super similar. The Panic, if I was to look at both of these discs, I would actually at first glance think the Panic is so stable. I'm wondering if they ran the Limit thinking it would be like a usable distance driver, and then it just came out so stable for no reason, and then they were just like, we're going to discontinue this thing because it's just way too stable for human use. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. It is so stable. But compared to the Panic, I don't know. I just feel like I don't really understand why this disc is so stable, because compared to the Panic, it looks like based on the profile, the Panic would be more stable. The only thing that's different is it has this time-lapse-esque kind of more straight angle here, and the time-lapse is really stable as well. The Limit has that very same kind of wing shape. All right, we'll throw everything 2 more times and we'll wrap it up. We'll change up the contrast here. We'll go Panic and then Limit. I'm actually really happy with how I'm throwing that Panic today. Like, those are good rips. That thing is really stable. All right, Super Annie. We'll go Super Annie on the Limit. I mean, it just wants to fight out right away. It's like a pushing fade, but it still wants to get down quickly. Still a very useful flight. And then we have like, still even the Photon's probably too beefy for me. So I'm like, I just put that on so much Annie, and it just wants to like, still fade out. Yeah, let's go grab everything. We'll throw it back one last time, and I'll give my final thoughts on the Limit. So the only time I ever really, truly want to bag a disc like this is for the forehand rollers. Forehand rollers with really overstable discs can go really, really far. Forehand rollers tend to roll straight for a while, but then want to really like curl to the left at the end. But when you throw something super overstable, discs tend to carry the same flight characteristics on the ground as they do in the air. So if you throw a flippy disc on a roller, it's still going to want to kind of cut to the left. But when you have something that's like ridiculously overstable like this, you can just put it down with basically almost a straight like vertical angle, as opposed to hitting a roller on the ground like this, like you normally would. You can throw them more like that, and they just kind of go straight for days. And if you throw a stable enough disc, they'll actually finish like a backhand roller up to the right. So let's see if we can't get a forehand roller down. So that's the angle you want. So look, even the Limit, being as stable as it is, still wants to swing to the left at the end. I think throwing super mega overstable discs on forehand rollers can be a really useful way to kind of optimize on getting, you know, actually some use out of it. So I'm sure basically anyone who owns a Limit doesn't actually have a use for it. But if you could master that type of shot, I think that forehand roller that you can just throw straight down, it's a lot less touchy and it's a lot more consistent, because you can just trust it to go on that same angle every time. And there's not many discs that are that overstable that you can sort of rely on that kind of shot. I guess we'll just go forehands with the other ones. None of these other discs are super great for forehand rollers on that angle, at least, because it's just, you really want something like that's the perfect disc for that shot. But let's see how we go with some flicks. Nice little rip and skip. That long grass just eats it up. And we got a soaking wet neutron photon. Man, if that photon had more glide, like all these, especially the old MVP discs, like even the, whether it be stable mold, flippy mold, like you can tell, they try. They have that shoulder that looks like it should be domey, but then the top just like sags down in the middle. That was one major problem that I've always had with MVP discs is they just usually don't go quite as far. When you play a lot of wooded courses, it's not really a problem because it's more about shot shaping than distance usually. But if I played on a long open course all the time, I probably wouldn't even bag very many MVP discs at all, or at least wouldn't be using them off the tee because they just don't have that push and carry of discs that have just a bit more dome. All right, impulse flick. This one's gonna be a lot touchier. Probably have to give this one a little bit of hyzy. Yeah, that thing is cool. That disc will 100% replace my Crave for now. Plus it's got like out of production mold, and I think that Neutron is also out of production. You kind of get a little style points for that, so that's a little extra fun for me. But anyway, MVP limit, probably useless for everyone, but I needed to get one and test it for myself to prove that and show you guys, because I think the history of discs like that are really cool. If you know any more history about the MVP limit, if you comment down below, I'll pin your comment. If you guys like content like this, let me know in the comments down below so I can keep putting stuff out that you guys tend to enjoy. Anyway, Simon Lizotte, I'm calling you out. I don't think you can get that thing to hyzer flip or turn. So I'm throwing down the gauntlet. Can Simon Lizotte overthrow the limit? Can Simon Lizotte break the limit of the limit? I don't know. We'll have to get him on the channel and figure that out for ourselves. So anyway, you guys are watching Iceberg TV. Thank you so much for watching my channel, and take care.